Hold on to your power, boss babes. You're about to crash headfirst into another electrifying episode of Baltic Boss Babes, where we cut through the fluff like a hot knife through butter. Our Cardi is at the helm today, steering us into the eye of the storm with today's guest, the maverick of heavy industrial machinery, Annika Amenberg. This is Baltic Boss Babes Episode 4, Unfiltered, Unapologetic and Undeniably Badass.
Hello, this is Kadi here with yet another episode from Baltic Boss Babes Tech Chill Special. And today we have in our show a boss babe from Estonia. Her name is Annika Amenberg, and Annika is the founder of Machineric. And previously she has worked mainly in male-led industries, including heavy machinery sales. So she was the country manager of Maskus, which is the biggest global heavy machinery marketplace, for most of her life. And now she is the founder of Machineric, which is digitalizing heavy machinery trading industry and offering an easy-to-use SaaS solution for the traders to manage their stock and sales processes. Hello, Annika, and welcome.
Hello, Kaiti. You are very much correct.
Well, you sent me that intro. So how are you doing today? How are you enjoying Tech Chill?
I'm enjoying very much Tech Chill. Unfortunately, I lost all my voice yesterday. So it was a lot of good meetings and a lot of very interesting conversations.
Is it with investors mainly? Are you fundraising it?
Mainly with investors, yeah.
Perfect. Okay, maybe for a start, to make the listeners familiar with you, then maybe you could take us through your journey. I checked on your LinkedIn that actually you are kind of like a serial entrepreneur. Am I right?
It's, yes. As I was working long time as a country manager for Maskus, and we reached to the market leader position in 5 years. So it was a bit boring for me there. We couldn't achieve anything more. We couldn't open up new markets because we were tied with this one agreement. So I had different projects beside that to start my to test my hand with different startups. But unfortunately or luckily, none of them succeeded.
It is actually a good thing, isn't it?
In long term, definitely. And so many lessons learned, so many valuable experiences, and it's all good in the end.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And we're going to talk about those learnings a bit later on. But maybe then you can tell us more about how did you come up with the idea of Machineric, and what was the main kind of driver that made you quit your comfortable corporate job and, go into kind of entrepreneurship and start your own venture?
Yeah, it definitely wasn't an easy decision. I think I thought about it 2 or 3 years actually, that I would like to do more something with software for these type of companies who sell heavy machinery, because there was definitely a need on the market for that. And this market is something that I really well know. But for many years, still something was holding me back, probably just courage. But finally, I really understood that as this has been eating me and I've been thinking about it for so long, and there were signs from my previous company also that it's probably not going to last long in that way. And we had accomplished to be the market leaders in Estonia, and there was nothing for me to reach there. Then finally, yes, in the end of 2020, I took the decision to quit Maskus, put all my life savings in Machineric, and started Machineric.
And how did it feel? Like, were you scared to start, or were you kind of excited also?
In a way, of course, I knew that this will be difficult. I knew that this won't be easy, and it has a lot of risks. But as I also have the strong knowledge about this business and this industry and the potential in this, then this kind of strength and belief in it has carried me a lot, and I really know it is a very needed thing, and there's huge potential to digitalize it.
What has been the kind of the hardest or the biggest challenge or the struggle that you have faced so far with your own company, with running your own company? How easy, for example, was it to find, team members and investors who believed in you?
I think that in the start, it was actually quite easy to find investors. Some of our customers invested, very good Estonian angels and group of angels invested. It went really smoothly in the beginning. But I think one of the main struggles I have had is that as I started the company on my own and alone, and I knew from the very start that, of course, you need to have a co-founder and you need to, because nobody will invest in solo founders. And I have made big mistakes in having a co-founder. One of them was, the first one was very, very hurtful. The second one was again a mistake, but not that hurtful. And it's very difficult to actually
know in advance.
Yeah. And what I've learned is definitely you need to trust your gut feeling, and you need to have some main values the same in life.
How do you think it is, all the kind of other listeners out there who are maybe about to start their venture, this is what we hear a lot, that the founder relations and the kind of the founder dynamics in the team is the most important and crucial.
It's the most important.
So how to test them? How to understand if your co-founder has similar values?
To trust your gut. Is this the person you would go to a war with?
Let's say you need a technical co-founder and you are not technical yourself, you don't know them. So maybe you meet at a hackathon or someone, you put up an ad and you meet that person first time, then you're not sure about it.
Yes, definitely. And then I recommend to start small. Don't promise to leave anything big. Have option agreement, not actual shares in the beginning if you don't know the person. Test that person out for a year, see how it goes, and then offer more.
Yeah,
because otherwise, if it ends up to be a bad relationship, then it's very painful for the company to clean it up. Yeah, it's very, very painful.
Understood. So you're a female founder. You're blonde. You're good looking. Have you ever encountered being stereotyped or this kind of biases during your career, and how have you tackled them?
Oh, definitely a lot. I started very young in male-led industries, in selling to car repair shops and selling heavy machinery. So I have been surrounded by males, selling to males for a very long time. And there are pros and cons. It's as a female, it's maybe easier to get the first appointment because they're just interested. So, but in a way, it's a door opener, and it's good. But the con is that it's sometimes more difficult to make yourself trustworthy, to be considered seriously. Because if you are selling a software solution for an old-fashioned industry, the part on the other side of the table is an old guy, old school guy. Then it requires a lot of diplomacy skills to explain, convince, and to teach them to run business more efficiently.
Do you feel that sometimes that you have to just kind of downplay your skills or kind of like make them, the man on the other side, feel that they are smarter or better or on the power position where actually you are the one who's kind of leading all this conversation?
Yes, exactly. It's what we laugh a lot with Anne-Sophie, my ex-colleague from Moscow Times and now a co-founder in Machineric. She's also a female in this industry, and the good thing is that we listen to a lot and we hear a lot, because sometimes men take us, like, oh, these little cute women are coming to our company and they tell you everything, all the competition things, all the secrets in this industry, all the things you maybe shouldn't talk. They wouldn't tell to other men, but they tell to us. Of course, we don't share them, use it badly. We don't share it, but sometimes it's so funny how much industry information we have.
It's maybe also because as a female, we are kind of naturally able to make this kind of nurturing and trustworthy environment.
Yeah, and the customer relations, they stay. If they join us, if they start trusting us, they will never leave. And they trust us, so it's a very good relationship. So in big picture, yeah, it has cons and pros being a female, but
in the okay, I understand about the heavy machinery and the sales and the customers, but what about fundraising? How do you feel when you are pitching to VCs? Have you ever felt that you are being, I don't know, somehow considered different because you're female, or or maybe it's an advantage or a benefit?
I just a few weeks ago had a meeting with one VC who only invest in female founders, but they said they only co-invest with other VCs. So it's
so you need to find another VC and then you go back to them.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know how much problem it solves, but okay. But of course, I think very often this startup industry in general, it's kind of has a lot of young male energy. And you need to come to the room. You say, oh, I'm going to take over the world and I'm doing this and that and invest in me and I'm the best. But female energy is more like humble and
more subtle.
Yeah, and these are the numbers I can bring to you. I'm very sure of that. This is like, they are more down to earth. And when investors listen to this, then they automatically take 30% down of that.
They think that you are actually not trusting in yourself, or you're not.
Yeah, it's a very interesting topic. I don't know what is the solution for that, but yes, I have felt that I am maybe considered too not ambitious enough, or maybe it doesn't show. I don't show it out that much, and I see also positive signs this changing. And
do you feel that as a female it is actually easier getting the calls with the VCs? Because I've heard that they actually have this kind of checklist that if it's a female founder, then they're like more kind of they get this one checklist already done, or one check done, and then they're like, okay, let's have the call and then let's hear you out.
Maybe yeah.
Yeah. There's no comparison here. Okay, so far in your journey, what do you think has been kind of the main or the biggest struggle that has kind of paved the way to your success? Because you are a successful entrepreneur, you're running a company, you have a team of people working for you, you're raising money. But it's not always that easy, is it?
No, it's not.
What is the hardest part, like in your everyday life, for example? I guess you're also mother of two
sons. And I think the main complication or struggle is how to divide yourself, being a good mother, being a good wife, being a good entrepreneur, being a good in investor relations, in team lead, in sales.
And you only have 24 hours.
Exactly. And sometimes you feel like you would like the day to be like at least 36 hours, because I like to work, I like to do this stuff, but it's just not enough time. And how to balance and how to set the priorities and how to stay focused. Time management is very important, and also taking time off sometimes. But yeah, I've had the feelings where I sit behind the computer and there's just fires everywhere, and I'm like, which is the highest priority now?
Exactly, I know what you mean. Do you have any kind of like productivity hacks or like that help you on this when you have to multitask and you just need to kind of have all the balls in there at the same time? Or what is your recommendation for other like if I would ask your advice what to do, what's your advice?
I don't know actually how to force yourself exactly, but things just need to be get done. And sometimes you don't know exactly what to do. You don't know how to do this difficult conversation or this difficult call. Just pick up the phone and do it, or just call and talk and do it and done. And sometimes we think the difficult things are more difficult, but when we do it or get to this, it's not that difficult. It's small steps.
Yeah, I have the same thing that sometimes, it's a super easy thing or maybe uncomfortable phone call, and I keep pushing that.
Exactly.
And I actually feeling like worse and worse and worse now. It's been like 3 weeks.
But that's why also it's actually very good to have a co-founder, a team member or a family member who is kind of like a stick in your butt. Did you do it? Did you do this? So it's good to have this some checkups and control from others also.
Let's talk more about Machineric. So I understand this is like basically you're a SaaS-driven company. So your customers are traders or the sellers or resellers of big machines.
Yes.
Can you maybe explain this whole concept a little bit more?
Yes, we enter the market with a SaaS solution for these type of companies who sell machinery, whether it's construction, agriculture, transportation, basically everything but cars. And then one of our tools is also that our customers can create their own auctions, closed auction for invited participants, where they are in control, who are seeing these ads with what prices and to what region they are selling them. It's a very complex world. Selling heavy machinery, sometimes the traders want to sell some items very far, sometimes they want to keep some things very close. And actually majority of the trades are done kind of like below the table, before the machine ends up in your website or in the marketplaces, but you actually trade before with some of your partners.
And then you still put it up there, or
you don't? You just WhatsApp, hey, I have these 20 excavators with this price, or send an email or an Excel sheet that these are the machines I have now. So, and then you call and then this is already bought.
Actually, this is also, if you have the less opportunities to offer or kind of like this kind of limited ways of selling, or you have this one person, then I don't think you can really negotiate the price too much, can you?
It's very, very manual. It's very, very manual. Mm-hmm. Many of our prospects in Europe, for example, in UK, in Germany, in Spain, Italy, they don't even have websites. The revenues are millions of euros. They don't have a website. They have maybe one guy who has a notebook.
And of course, that money, you are not sure if it actually gets like taxed or shown properly. And
it probably is, but in many countries also the taxes are done with notebook.
That is crazy. That's something that us Estonians find it very difficult to even grasp.
And also the value proposition and the sales arguments are very different in different countries. In Scandinavia, in the Baltics, we of course explain we have a good to easy to use solution to manage your sales, but with all these nice functionalities. But for German traders, we said, you should have a website.
So actually, you're educating them. Yeah, I can completely understand. So you are kind of, disrupting the market, and you are not replacing another technology, but you are replacing the pen and the paper.
Yeah, it's also difficult because the sales cycles can be very long.
Because they don't still understand that they actually need you.
They probably understand. They know it, and that we need to digitalize, go from analog to digital, like they say in Germany. But it's still, it takes time.
What is the hardest bit about, selling your product or convincing your buyer to start using Machineric?
One of the main real obstacles is that it's a very sticky solution. It touches marketing, management, sales. If they're medium-sized, bigger companies, you need to talk to marketing, you need to talk to sales, you need to talk to the manager. Several meetings you need to have, and kind of like you need to win over several.
Push the right buttons.
Yeah, And as we are also making the sales work much more efficient, then very often nowadays in this industry, the salespeople who sell the heavy machinery, their work is typing in machines to different portals, to websites.
So actually half of their time they're spending on that.
Exactly. And so if Machineric comes, then they see that their job is jeopardized. Yeah.
That is, that I can understand. There's a lot of that also in, with hotel buying.
Yeah.
If you're replacing the receptionist, and then you might have the resistance from those people. They're like, what are we going to do now? Without understanding that they can do something else, just adding more value to the company, for example. Okay, cool. Have you ever done something kind of like unconventional with your company, like, maybe in the sales or marketing, or stepped out of like kind of the normal or the comfort zone that's maybe not so common?
As we currently are only focused on outbound sales, meaning direct sales, then not so much marketing activities, but what can be untraditional. For example, in Germany, there are a lot of startups in construction industry, for example, and young guys raising a lot of money in the first seed round, millions, and then they want to interrupt the construction machinery industry, but it doesn't go like that, and then they don't succeed. So what is untraditional for us is that we actually go to the fairs. We go to the fairs, we talk to the people, we kind of like try to actually build the relationship with these old industry guys. Because if you get the A category players, if you get some important customers on board, it's much easier to onboard other customers, and you can start doing inbound marketing. But to get actually in, you need to build the trust, you need to build the relationship. And so this is something that many German startups in construction industry, for example, are not doing.
Do like LinkedIn and Instagram marketing, spending a lot of money, but those guys are doing that.
Exactly. Actually, you need to have a beer with this old guy.
No, yeah, I think this is the part of your kind of struggle, that you have to actually educate the market and make them understand what you are,
and creating trust. It all comes down to relationships, and you need to start from there.
How many customers do you have by now?
We currently have 15 paying customers. We have several pilots also, and we are increasing average 21% per month.
Oh, that's very, very nice.
Hope to keep it up.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And how big is the team?
We have 7 people, 4 in development team, and 3, one is me, and 2 in sales.
So far, is there something that you would do differently if you could go back in time? Like, would you change something on your journey? Or rather not?
Yeah, I kind of believe that there is no point to regret, because what has happened. And you need to only learn from this. But maybe one mistake that I have made several times is the co-founder thing, and to trust more your gut feeling. And I don't remember who has said it. It's quite vulgar, but better have a hole in the team than an asshole. I think it says a lot, and to maybe some of the startups who are also looking for a co-founder, it's hire slow, hire carefully, but let go quickly if it's not right. I think this is one of the main.
Yeah, okay, great. Where are you going to be with Machineric in 5 years' time? Where do you imagine yourself?
I think in 5 years, it should be the time for maybe also keeping also eyes open regarding exit.
Who could be the potential acquirer for Machineric?
Probably there are different options, but of course it depends how it goes. Maybe it's too early then to consider it and build it up longer ourselves, or maybe to have some kind of like very industry related big investor in that point who would help us scale more globally.
Now you're only targeting European market.
Currently, yes. But of course, heavy machinery sales in general, it's very global. It's because some of the machines, they are so unique that maybe the only buyer you have is in the other side of the globe. Exactly. So it's very global in market in general. So then moving to different markets shouldn't be that difficult. With the network effect that we are creating with the SaaS solutions and with the closed auctions, then it at least currently seems easy.
Let's go back in time a little bit. So I noticed you, before Machineric, you started up at least 2 other startups. So can you maybe elaborate a little bit more about these startups? What did you do and what went wrong?
Currently remember only one, but maybe first.
On LinkedIn, you had 2.
Oh, okay. I remember one. I was it was founded by another person, and then I joined them as a co-founder and I think sales manager. Or kind of like CEO, or I don't even remember.
What did the startup do?
It was Tinder for people with disabilities to get support or help, matchmaking volunteers who want to help people and the people with disabilities who need some.
And why did it work out?
I think the main problem was that there was I was so rookie back then, and there was no focus. And as majority of the team, it was a very big team. I think in one point where there were 8 people, and majority of them had the background of kind of like NGOs and that kind of stuff. So and it was, but it was a very good experience. It was.
What was the key learning or key takeaway?
Focus. Yeah.
But when it's very hard to keep the focus, I mean, like. Maybe for us it is easier, but like when I'm looking the new generation, Gen Zs who have kind of basically grown up with iPads and phones and constant notifications and living in social media and all this, and TikTok and all these Instagram reels where you're getting like thousands of different, kind of stimulants at one single time, and some people find it super hard to focus. Do you have any like tricks there?
Yeah, close those.
Close doors?
Close those accounts, or don't.
Close TikTok.
Close TikTok, exactly. And make a schedule that you take this 1 hour. I will now do this, or. For example, with my previous company, Moscow's experience, how we took over the market leader position in heavy machinery sales portals. Each year we focused on one category. This year we focus on construction dealers. Next year we focus on agriculture dealers. So you kind of like you pick your focus, and you can do multiple stuff, but you always choose this one. What is the most important thing to do now? This month, prioritizing. And so on. And now I remembered the other startup also. It was Prebook24. It was a really lovely idea to offer a booking app for hair salons or nail salons, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The idea is actually very good, and there are very good startups in the world who have really succeeded with this idea. But and I was also invited there as a sales manager, and it was I think there were also 5 founders, but they all did it as a side business, and this is also something that besides something else, it's super hard to accomplish something. That's why I'm really grateful that I was able to quit my previous job like 100% and focus 110% on Machineric. But the funny story with the Prebook24 is that I was invited there as a sales manager, but then actually I discovered that I really need to do this Machineric and I took her CTO.
Okay, maybe as a kind of a last question, because the time unfortunately is pressing. What is the kind of the most unfiltered advice that you would give to other kind of, Baltic or world's, female entrepreneurs just starting out on their journey and starting out their businesses?
Pick really carefully that team. Coming back to the vulgar sentence I said before, better hole in the team than an asshole. So hire really smart, be careful, start by small steps if you are considering someone as a co-founder, and you can always give out more shares, you can always increase the relationship. Exactly, but start small if you are not 150% sure.
That's a great advice, and then focus. Yeah, and close your TikTok. Okay, great, Annika. It has been such a pleasure to have you as a guest with us in Baltic Boss Babes, and I wish you really good luck. You are currently fundraising, so all the investors listening to this episode, get in touch with Annika. What's your website, by the way?
Machineric.com.
Easy, machineric.com. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me here. It was really fun to chat with you. Wish you all the best.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today. This episode of the Baltic Boss Babes podcast was brought to you by our supporter Workland co-working space across the Baltics. Tune in again for another exciting and enlightening discussion. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and follow us on Instagram and LinkedIn at Baltic Boss Babes for updates and behind-the-scenes content. Stay safe, stay curious, and keep on innovating.